Well, a very good morning to you and you're welcome to News Flash at 11 here on Metro TV. My name is Annie F1 Pofon. Coming up in this bulletin. Fresh anti-LGBT bill will see corporates and sympathizers face up to 10-year jail term if passed in current state. Ranking member on Parliament's Defence and Interior urges regional and police commanders to buy into vision of acting IGP George Akufu-Dampare. And on the international front, displaced families in the Democratic Republic of Congo in dire need of shelter after escaping violence in east of the country. And in our first story, a new anti-LGBT bill cited by Metro News will see culprits face a jail term of up to 10 years depending on the crime if passed into the current state. The 36-page bill dubbed the Promotion of Proper Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill 2021 yet to be sent to Parliament for consideration in order to criminalize the act. Now this is more, there's more in the following reports carrying the details of this punishment.
Details of the yet-to-be-passed bill reveals individuals of the same sex who engage in sexual intercourse are liable on summary conviction to a fine of not less than 750 penalty unit and not more than 5,000 penalty unit, or to a term of imprisonment of not less than 3 years and not more than 5 years, or both. This encompasses any person who holds out as a lesbian, a gay, a transgender, a transsexual, a queer, a pansexual, an ally, a non-binary, or any other sexual or gender identity that is contrary to the binary categories of male and female. Anti-LGBT+ legislators had earlier hinted at ongoing deliberations on a document to render the group's promotion and advocacy illegal. Ningo Prampram legislator Sam George and 7 other members of parliament, including the MPP's John Intim Fajo, drafted the bill, which they are seeking to introduce in the House as a private member's bill for the necessary approval. On 29 June 2021, they symbolically submitted a copy of the draft bill to the Speaker, Alban Gbagben, for his review at a meeting of the Parliamentary Christian Fellowship. The Speaker is expected to create a window on the floor of the House to allow the MPs to formally move their private members' bill soon. But portions of the draft which hit the internet on Thursday has reignited a conversation about its nature and scope, with many impugning potentially far-reaching human rights violations, including that of allies. It proposed that a person who, by use of media, technological platform, technological account, or any other means produces, procures, market, broadcasts, disseminates, publishes, or distributes a material for purposes of promoting an activity prohibited under the bill, or a reason, or a person uses an electronic device, the internet service, a film, or any other device capable of electronic storage or transmission, promoting an activity prohibited under the bill, commits an offense and is liable on summary conviction to a term of imprisonment of not less than 5 years and not more than 10 years. The draft also suggests that persons who engage in activities that promote support, sympathy, or a change of public opinion towards an act prohibited under the bill are liable on summary conviction to a term of imprisonment of not less than 5 years or not more than 10 years. The bill is also proposing the disbandment of all LGBTQ+ groups, societies, associations, clubs, and organizations. All groups in existence before the bill came into existence and are intended to promote such activities are to be disbanded. Persons who contravene this provision could face up to not less than 6 years or not more than 10 years in imprisonment. But some 51,000 tweets generated since the issue went public have relayed some thought on the matter. Some social media users say the seeming antagonism against pro-LGBT activism as indicated in the draft is unwarranted. While some users support the development, many others also claim the vagueness and broad scope of infringement range per the bill gives wiggle room for its abuse.
And still on social media, let's pick some reactions that has greeted this bill that's been cited by Metro News. So on the social media reactions, as we're talking about, we've picked from a member of parliament for Ningo Prampam, Sam Jata George. He says that I've seen the attacks from a new goons aligned to a political inclination based on my leadership on the PMB against LGBTQ plus in Ghana. Bow your heads in shame. Nothing will stand in our way to get this bill passed by the House. Take your perversion and let me speak my truth. And that's the member of parliament who is trying to stand by his truth for others to stick to their perversion, he says. So the Konongo boy also on Twitter says that you think the problem is with Sam George and the other MPs supporting this bill. They are doing it because they know the vast majority of the populace will agree with them. So go outside and explain things to the people of your community and see their reaction. And that's also another reaction on Twitter. Another one from Tired Homophobia in Ghana, Jazz Derby. He says that this anti-LGBT bill is so absurd. It contravenes basic human rights in so many ways and gives us, the state unbridled power to control the private lives of citizens, forcing intersex people to undergo surgery. And that's a question. Even language they use is so dehumanizing. And that is also his take on the protocol. That is Professor P says that the bill is filled with so much hate for LGBT Ghanaians. Reading the document, you can pick up the vile and sadistic hate emanating from it. People like Sam George et al. Are inherent bullies who derive pleasure from hurting others. Shaking my head. And that those are some of the comments that we picked from social media, Twitter to be precise. But we're joined by a member of the National Coalition for Proper Human Sexual Rights and Family Values, Dr. Samuel Ofori Onwona, and board member of LGBT Plus Ghana, Rosalind Mould, for more on this development. Thank you, ladies, for joining us on this discussion. So my first question, let me go to Dr. Onwona first. Have you seen this document, and what's your reaction?
Well, as a member of the coalition, we are part of the process that brought this up. And let me make it clear to Ghanaians that the coalition is all embracing. We have all the Muslim councils, all the Christian councils, all the traditional leaders. And in case people think it's a generational issue for those who are of our age and outgoing generation, we have two dynamic youth groups, the Christian youth group and the Muslim youth group, who actually participated in the drafting of the bill. So this thing is not about going after any group of people to destroy them. I don't know if you have seen my letter that I sent to the American ambassador on the appointment of this lady that is supposed to go around and promote LGBTQ in nations. And I said, America recently at the UN abstained from voting to pass a bill against global racism. So they shouldn't come to Ghana and tell us about human rights. By the way, what we have put down is for protection of the LGBTQ people. We have a comprehensive program. We are not interested in destroying lives. They are brothers and sisters. We know this thing has been there from way back in secondary school. In fact, this thing dates back as far back as Sodom and Gomorrah. We are aware. What they are looking for is legitimacy. They want this thing to be approved as a human right. They went to Strasbourg International Court for Human Rights in 2016-2017. 47 international judges were assigned to address the matter. All of them voted unanimously against this thing, that it cannot be a human right, and they added that they have no right to impose it on any nation. I have done a program with the Christian Youth Group showing the cost implications of this deviant lifestyle We have to call it like it is. We are not trying to cover up and sugarcoat matters. You have to see the anal incontinence that comes with homosexualism and the health bill that comes along. We don't have the means to take care of this. Number one. Number two, we are already at the seams. 88% of our total expenditure goes into recurrent budget. And recently, you heard the hue and cry about the salaries and for the first lady and second lady and the benefits and all that. 88% of our total expenditure goes into recurrent budget. We don't have the means. We don't have the money to add to the cost of health to run down the economy. We need that capital to develop roads and infrastructure and education and build more hospitals. We can't afford to, in quote, throw away that money to people whose life have been misled. By the way, we are also not just going into stop this thing. We are providing holistic support. As I speak with you now, 600 homosexuals have been ministered to and returned. They've come back. In America, they won't allow you.
Where does this happen?
Oh, this happened about 6 months to 9 months ago.
In Ghana here?
Who are sent around. Yes. From the Philippines, and we called for a private meeting. For your information, 600 people showed up, including, I'm a Christian, and I'm not shy to bring this out, including some pastors. Okay, yeah. Private meeting, not publicized, and we met with them and ministered to them, and 600 have gone back.
Okay, so
we brought from Philippines was all about a transgender. Said I was looking for. I want to go back to my origin. So we have a holistic approach that helps them. We are protecting them. We are going. The bill is going to fight anyone who attacks a homosexual for the sake of being homosexual. We are here. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, if you can just adjust your laptop a little bit, because I'm having a bit of some confusion on the line on the internet there. Let's have.
Is it okay now?
Yes, it's okay now. But kindly stay on. Rosalind.
Okay?
Yes, I can hear you. It's okay. It's okay now. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So Rosalind can also join in the discussion. Rosalind, does the bill satisfy your cause? What you have seen so far, does it satisfy the cause? And let me just add that there's a seeming diplomatic attempt to have this agenda go through, which we can say that it probably is pushed by the world superpowers and therefore is quite powerful. With the bill, if it satisfies your cause, do you think that you can still fight this and it will not eventually definitely come to fruition?
Yes, thank you very much. I mean, looking at the bill, it is very unfortunate. This bill reeks of hatred, pure hatred, bigotry, intolerance. It is, like somebody said, dehumanizing, and it reeks of neo-colonization. If anything at all, it is the National Coalition for Proper Human Sexual Rights, in quotes, and family values that have been the ones seeking far-right extremist hate groups, known extremist hate groups from the US and other parts of the world to come and bring their rhetoric here, exporting their hate and bigotry here in Ghana and imposing their religious ideas and interpretations onto other people. Excuse me, Dr. I would like to speak. This is against.
Dr. Ma, if you can just hold on, I'll give you the chance. So kindly just hold on.
Yes,
allow Rosalind.
Constitution and our democracy is at stake if we allow this bill to go through. I mean, who does it take? Who is it who has the right to tell us as Ghanaians what it means to be Ghanaian? The National Coalition, the National House of Chiefs, all these other groups that are coming together to pass this bill definitely do not have the right to tell Ghanaians what it means to be a Ghanaian. because our culture is dynamic and it changes. It reeks of a lot of issues on infringement of our rights to expression, freedom of expression, which will not only affect this bill, it will affect not just the advocates and activists that have been fighting for the rights of LGBT plus people to be, so that they will not be violated, their rights will not be violated, and the violence and discrimination that is being meted against that community should stop. Instead, this bill is rather going to promote homophobia, in the sense that the violence will continue to increase, and there will be no way for us to fight for their rights to be. Their right to life, education, healthcare, and all that is completely going to be nil once this bill is passed. And I'm pleading with other MPs who are in Parliament. It's unfortunate that our Right Honourable Alban Bagbin is somebody who is already looking like he's taking a stance and has already declared the bill passed in his own personal way, without even listening to the debate from the House. It's really unfortunate. Yeah, Ghana is based on values, not on religious values.
Okay, Rosalind, let me ask.
Your right to religion should not infringe the rights to other people.
Permit me to ask that. Why does it seem as though the LGBTQ plus is forcing their rights or its rights down the throat of a sovereignty, a country of its own sovereignty? If you want to practice any sexual, orientation in any form, in any way, can you just do that in the private of your room or your home? Must anybody be bothered about it?
The rhetoric that is going on is that being LGBT plus is a behavior or is some kind of act. It is not. It is how people are born. Period. And a lot of
how people are born. That is a lie.
How scientific? How scientific is that, Rosalind?
LGBT. Let's answer your question, madam. Please. At the end of the day, it is not the LGBT community that has ever forced this. Every time it has been the homophobic community that goes on TV, on radio, mainstream media, and on social media, declaring their stance on basing this on fallacious arguments, using their religion and cultural ideas to infringe on other people.
Can I come in?
You will come in, but quickly with Rosalind again.
Every time that the LGBT community has spoken up, it's to beg the stakeholders, the Ghana Police Service, the government, and all other the Ghana AIDS Commission for their right to healthcare, for their right to education, for their right to life, without being violated in every way. That is the only thing they are saying. There is no group. And please, if Dr. Owona would say, I dare him to bring out any evidence that the LGBT community has ever stood up to talk about why people should be homosexual. There has never been any group that has advocated for people to be homosexual.
Okay, so I don't know how this. Take your time there. Take your time. Hold on there, Hold on there, Rosalind. How do you determine someone's sexual orientation by the way they're born? When someone is born, maybe physical appearance shows that it's a female, and the person says, I'm male. How do you conclude that that's how the person is born, as you put it?
So, of course, as a baby, you will not be able to speak up for yourself. It's until you've reached a certain age where you start to realize that your identity, even with intersex, even with the intersex, they are born like that. And it will come out that they have two different organs, sexual organs. But at the end of the day, most of the time, the doctors with the families make the wrong decision and might take off an organ that is suited for that gender.
The doctor makes the wrong decision.
It should not be a person's right
that are falsehood. Please,
what people do in the privacy of their bedrooms. It should not be
explain something to you.
All right.
The African society predates Europe.
All right,
African society, Ghana in particular.
Yes, and in African history, and in African history, like you said,
gentleman and lady,
I listen to you. Can you shut up and listen to me?
There's always been lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans people in our society. Even in our own culture.
I listen to you. Can you also shut up and listen to me?
Please do not speak to me in that disrespectfully in that way.
You are violating the rules of the discussion.
All right.
We will not sit down.
As I also shut
All right, Rosalind, if you can, Rosalind, kindly hold on. Rosalind,
infringe on other people's rights.
Rosalind, hold on, and Dr. Una as well, hold on. Just cease fire for a moment, and let me take it one after the other so viewers can hear you clearly what you are talking about. Dr. Una, so I think her point is made clearly, and I think one that stood out for me is that sometimes a doctor, by his own profession, will determine, well, which of the genes is more prominent, and that I decide to choose this for you. And so sometimes it's really not the fault of the individual when you see the individual in a certain shape as far as sexual orientation is concerned. Is that too much to carry?
Please, we have addressed this thing thoroughly. The only area where it looks like a gray area is the intersex area. It is not about physical appearance. You have 23 X chromosomes and 23 Y chromosomes. If you have that,
Rosalind, kindly.
If you interject again, I am out of this discussion.
Rosalind, I'm sorry. If you can hold on, I plead with you. Thank you.
If you can't hold on, I will close and leave. I'm not here to argue with you.
I'm
here to speak the mind of the Ghanaians. 99.9% of the Ghanaian population is represented in the coalition. We didn't go to do any campaign. It is a cultural status. Let me tell you that we predate the Western countries that you are telling us brought this into us. That's what I've told the American ambassador. Ghana Songhai Empire existed in 12th century BCE.
True.
It is not the British or the Americans who brought us this thing. It has been a taboo and will continue to be a taboo. Number one, it's not about physical appearance.
All right, Rosalind, can you hold on? Doc, I want to find out. You said that you have, the only area that's a gray area is the intersex, right? The other areas.
Let me finish.
I just want to explain that the other areas. How did you solve that problem where we have a gray area to deal with? But the other one.
As I've explained to you, we have a comprehensive package. We have psychiatrists, we have psychologists, we have medical officers. We have already handled, as I told you, 600 people,
right?
And a lot of them were abused. We know over 80 to 85% of LGBTQ members were abused by relatives in their youth. It's happening in the secondary schools, in boarding schools. We all know that. There's nothing called, I was born with it. It is a lie from the pit of hell. It is not true. And number two, it is not about physical appearance. It is about genetic makeup. 23 X chromosomes, 20 Y X chromosomes, you are a man. 23 X chromosomes, 46 X chromosomes, you are a woman.
More scientific evidence.
If you interject, I'm off.
Rosalind, can you hold on?
If you can't behave properly and in a civil manner, let's stop this discussion.
All right, Doc, go on.
So you have 46 XX and then 23 X, 23 Y. If you go and change the physical habits by pumping in hormones to develop breasts and cut your male organ and try to create some orifice there for a vagina, you are playing games. You are not doing anything that is realistic. It is a taboo in our society. What they are looking for is a legality for what they are practicing. That's the bottom line. We are not saying they are not homosexuals. We are aware. It's a deviant behavior. And that is why they dodge. It is this Western society that is influencing them to come forward. In our society, in fact, this bill is going to protect them, because if they catch them in the traditional environment, they will beat them to death. We know that.
Exactly that.
That's why we have to protect them.
Doctor, exactly their issue.
Our bill protects them. Our bill says that if anybody attacks a homosexual for being a homosexual, they should be brought to court. We are defending them from that perspective. But it's a deviant behavior. It's an abominable lifestyle. Two men can never reproduce. Every homosexual on this planet was a product of a heterosexual couple. What annoys us is the fact that they can't reproduce, but they want to adopt children produced by heterosexuals to turn them into homosexuals. It's a bullying attitude. It's a satanic spirit. It's a wicked attitude, and it must not be tolerated. They don't stop the discussion. This is the attitude of the homosexual. They are bullies.
Right.
If you don't know, they are bullies. They try to rape angels in the days. They try to
group.
They try to rape angels.
Dr. Ona, hold on.
And luckily for us, most of Africa has been able to come out of it. South Africa, Mozambique, countless countries. Some never even
South
had
Africa is because of the whites there.
All right.
Not because of the whites there. We are not talking about white people. This is coming from a place of movement, and it's a place of faith or a place of bigotry.
Dr. Ona and Rosalind Mond, we definitely will get back to you to continue the discussion maybe at 12. So take some breather and breathe on the issue. We definitely will get back to you, and then we'll continue with this discussion. You're also watching News Flash here on Metro TV with me, Annie Fwampofo. Let's take a breather too.
Publishes or
The search for a reliable partner in deal sale of Camel car batteries, which and Kia spare parts.